Hello, my name is Eric and I'm doing another one of my photography vlogs called One Body, One Lens, One Roll, One Day. It is a kind of cool February morning. Figured I'd come on out and get an episode. It's like mid-40s. Probably don't even need this jacket, but there's a breeze going and yeah, so it helps. Today's camera is my Pentax LX. You've seen this a couple times before. I do have the motor drive on it. I do have a different lens. Typically I'd have my 50-1.4 or my Takumar 50-1.4. I have got the more standard 50mm 1.7. Now of the 50 millimeters, the F8, the F1.8, the 1.7, which is what this one is, the 1.4 and the F2. I'm not really a fan of the F2. I always thought it was kind of soft. The 1.7s I actually like. Now, since I also own the 1.4, then I've got that one too. Today's film is some Konica VX100 Super. Caught a whiff of something. Well, probably something in the breeze. Thought it was something on the film, but nope. Okay. Expired in 2007, so about 20 years old. This is some 100 speed stuff, so I'm going to be adjusting the ISO on the meter. So this guy is going to be metered, where a lot of the other cameras recently have either been unmetered or haven't had the meter, and I've had to play the Sunny 16 rule. So I'm going to lay this in here. And as you're loading these old manual cameras, again, on the take-up spindle, there's usually catches. This has a whole bunch of them, where some other cameras or medium formats might have 2 or 3. And I like going, well, you can see it, but I like going one full loop around, and that way I know that it's got it caught. And you might lose one roll, or not one roll, but one shot in the deal, just because. Let me make sure my ISO is set. Just because I'd rather lose one roll than lose the entire roll if it popped off. Okay, so this was some 100 speed stuff. 20 years old. I'm going to put it at ISO 25. I do have my motor drive is on, and I am going to kind of set for. This is an SMC-M lens, so it does not have the auto aperture, but I can set my camera to auto shutter. So that way I'm just going to be shooting aperture priority. If I had the SMC-A version, I could have reversed it and shot shutter priority, but this is the M version. All right, let me get some shots. I'll be right back. Now, motor drives on a lot of these film cameras can be kind of noisy. So if you're outside, it's not a big deal. But if you're inside, especially places that like to be quiet, like museums, theater, press conferences, yeah, you don't want to be necessarily using it. Turn it off and use your manual crank, or go away from where people might be recording video, because they don't necessarily want to hear your motor drive going off every time. So as you kind of see me taking photos, you kind of hear the motor drive go off. It is kind of loud, relatively speaking. So keep that in mind when you're out shooting, especially shooting with people in a quiet area. Okay, 50mm 1.7 actually does have a decent macro. It'll get you down to about 12 inches. And add a little bit of depth of field. I should have gotten that pretty well. Alright, let me see what else I can get. Alright, so you've seen my Pentax LX before. This is the flagship of Pentax all manual cameras. It does have the removable prism. Obviously can take the motor drive. Has exposure compensation, plus or minus 4 stops. Some have 2, some have 3. This guy's got 4. Shutter speeds from 4 seconds down to up to 2,000 seconds, and it can time itself. Plus you've got the bulb and the mechanical release and stuff like that. Very, very solid, very, very well built camera. Glad I found one. Took a bit to find the battery chamber. Is the one I got. Didn't have the battery chamber in it. Found one on eBay at a reasonable price, and I've got my my full kit. All right, I'm going to keep going that way a little bit. I am on shot 22 of 36, so a couple more shots left. Let's see what I can get. All right, so that was my 36 shot. I thought I was going to get one extra, but I guess I didn't. All right, so remember to rewind these old cameras. It's usually a release button on the bottom. Push it in. I tend to hold mine in so it doesn't accidentally pop out because I don't want to be rewinding and suddenly the film catch and I tear it out of the canister or I tear the film in half. Then I got to take it to a photo lab or into a dark room and get it out. So I'm going to rewind. What was my deal? Oh, sorry. I was hitting the wrong button. Okay. There we go. There are two buttons on the bottom of this camera. Make sure you hit the right one. The other one is your battery eject. Okay. So now I've got the right one down and now it spins freely. This camera actually does spin a little freer rewinding than some of the older, I don't want to say older, but some of the other base level cameras like a Pentax ME or a Nikon FG. This I think has a little assist in there. I have just rewound it. As many winds or as many rewinds will be about as many shots as you took. So I took 36 shots, I think. I might have only gotten to 35 because of the fact that how I load my film. But again, I'd rather you lose one shot than lose the entire roll because it jumped track. Okay, today's camera again was the Pentax LX with a 50mm 1.7 Pentax SMC-M. It does not have the auto aperture capability, so I had to either shoot it in full manual or I could shoot it in aperture priority, which I shot it mostly in aperture priority today. Typically, most of the time I was like at 11 and 8. Just kind of, I had some nice shutter speeds there. One or two shots to the water, trying to get it to drag a bit, so I threw it up to f/22, got down about a 15th of a second. Kind of hard to handhold at that point, so we'll see what I get. Today's film is some Konica VX, or some 100 VX Super, expired in 2007, so it's about 20 years old. This is from a batch that I got off of eBay. This is my first roll of it, so I'm going to see how that goes and see how to shoot the rest of that roll of film. Konica expired film has never really been a friend to me. It's always been either discolored or heat damaged and stuff like that. People don't keep it safe. Maybe, I'm not sure why, but I haven't had good luck with it so far. I think I've shot probably about 15 rolls of Konica so far, and maybe 2 have come out decent. All right. If I get images and if they look okay, feel free to give them a thumbs up. Feel free to comment on your experience with expired film or expired Konica film or even the Pentax LX. Feel free to subscribe as new episodes. Try to come out about every Friday and every Saturday with bonus episodes happening every now and then. I did an extra long episode on Mansfield Reformatory. I still followed the theme. I shot one camera and one lens. However, I shot one roll per section I was in. So I did one roll on the upper cells, one roll on the bottom cells, one roll in solitary, one roll in the chapel area. Cool place to shoot. I even shot some infrared film there. If you like ghost hunting, that's always a cool place to shoot. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next episode. Hey, so the roll of Konica I had picked up off of eBay and I was doing a test roll for the other rolls that I got in the same batch. I think it was a 10-pack. This roll appears to have been heat affected. So I will show you the shot of the negatives. They pretty much look blank, but it's a very greenish tone to it. And as you're buying expired film, these things can happen. You wind up with something that got affected by heat or something affected by x-rays or other natural type stuff that can happen. This one looks like it was affected by heat. There's no fault to the seller. They didn't know the condition was kept in. When you shoot this expired stuff, you always take a chance. It's always better if you can find refrigerated film or frozen film. When you buy batches off of eBay, you just never know. All right. Thanks for watching. This is not really a new oops episode. This is kind of more of a learning episode, but we'll see you next episode. Thanks.